13 years before. I had to make sure that Michael's reader did it right. I need to get it right. On live. I was like, I really want to stay, got into again, town.
Finally got to use it. We're now going back into the open portion. Next one's on. Be it resolved that council rises from the closed session of January 28th, 2025 at 6:09 PM with the following to report. Council hereby directs the town manager to carry out tasks as outlined below. That the town manager, in consultation with legal counsel, is hereby directed to identify and resolve any legal or procedural issues related to the sale of 367 4th Avenue. And that the town manager shall prepare and submit a finalized property sale contract for town council review and approval. And further, that council recesses until the commencement of the public portion of the meeting at 6:30 PM. And that was moved by, that's my favorite. Yep, that was moved by Councillor Gaddy and seconded by Councillor Allen. All in favor? Carried. The Township of Blackburn-Masson acknowledges the Apatipi and Sinapec Nation traditional territory. We live, play, and work here together, and so together we shall build a strong and inclusive community. A reminder to all in attendance that council meetings are recorded and made available to the public on the Township website for review. Do we have any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none. Before we head into the adoption of minutes, I got a little page document I wanted to present to actually to the resident, not the council, because this is about council. So if you guys could indulge me for a few minutes. And as a result of many emails and conversations I've had with residents, I'd like to take a moment to address some current issues. Unfortunately, misinformation, untruths have been circulating in this community. We all take part in coffee shop conversations or chat with a friend or neighbor. Sometimes, and not always intentional, facts have become distorted. Often facts are replaced with personal opinions. When information does not originate from a credible source, it causes confusion and negativity in the community. This council, the people you see up here around this table, promised community open and transparent communications. And in the 5 months since we were elected, we have taken steps to keep that promise. As your council, we have brought issues to the public that were previously silenced. We have encouraged residents to contact us directly. Our personal phone numbers are posted on the township website. We are accessible through email. We are approachable when you meet us on the street, in the restaurants, and out in public. Some council members fought hard to bring council meetings back to the public face to face instead of being behind a computer screen. We also, to engage the public, we've implemented a question and answer period during council meetings. And I personally have held meet the mayor sessions at the town hall where you can come in and talk directly with me. And we have posted many public town meetings, town hall meetings in every ward. We are not only council members, we are also community members. As individuals, we are invested in this community through our family ties, our work, our businesses. We shop here, dine here, play here, and we support this township. Recently, our integrity and motives have been questioned regarding some council decisions. I can tell you without any hesitation that not a single decision has been made by any council member for their own betterment. There are no hidden agendas. As I look around this table, I see people who have dedicated their time, their knowledge, and their experience towards making this community a better place for everyone. Will we make mistakes? Of course we will, but those mistakes will never be from a place of dishonesty or deception. So to dispel some of the rumors and false information, I would like to review a few timelines based on facts, and this is timeline I'm referring to. The Northlander train ceased operations in Tumasson in 2012. It was decided by the provincial government of that time also to close the train station. This occurred 4,718 days ago. It was announced that the Northlander train would resume over 1,095 days ago. The owner held an informational session offering residents the opportunity to ask questions. That was 450 days ago. Local residents only received notices about the impending demolition of the existing train and construction of new shelter. That was only 45 days ago. The Massillon OPP detachment, the final closure was effective March 31st, 2023. That was 670 days ago. That building has sat empty since then. The OPP administration has stated that there are no intentions of reopening the Massillon detachment. Municipal town office. The sale of the current town office located at 367 4th Avenue was first brought to public on November 8th, which was 81 days ago. The intent to move the administration staff to a new temporary location, which is 421 5th Avenue, was announced at the January 14th council meeting, which was 14 days ago. Incorrect information has been circulating only adds to confusing and misleading narratives. So I believe it's important that everyone be aware of the correct facts so that continuing forward, we have a true baseline. We can only progress together as a community when all parties have accurate and truthful information. I implore every resident of this community to reach out to any of us with your questions, your concerns, and your comments. You may not agree with the response, but I can promise you that you will always get the truth. So having said that, we're going to move into the adoption of the minutes. Moved by Councillor Charbonneau, second by Councillor Bouchard. Be it resolved that council received the minutes of the Blackbird Massillon Library Board meeting held on December 9th, 2024 as attached. Any questions or comments on that? All in favor? Here. Consent agenda moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor McCutcheon. Be it resolved that the consent agenda item listed on the January 28th, 2025 regular council agenda, specifically items 5A to 5C, be received by council, and that any motions contained therein be supported as written. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Move on to our delegations. We have 3 delegations for this evening. We have a 15-minute window for the delegations, but I would say we could wrap them up close to around 10 minutes, leaving us a few minutes for questions or comments from council. Our first delegation is Steve Mounier from the OPP.
Your faces. Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Your Worship. For those and to the councillors and the admin staff of the township, thank you for the invite. It is indeed a pleasure to be here to represent the Ontario Provincial Police. My name is Steve Meunier. I'm the interim acting staff sergeant, detachment commander of the South Park Combined Cluster, which includes the township of Blackbird and Massillon Commerce. So it's indeed a pleasure for me to be here tonight to speak to you folks about just the state of the detachment, and I provided some stats. I don't if yourself, worship, and council members have them and have any questions about them, I can certainly entertain them. I did receive some questions about the delegation from your town manager, Mr. Lee, if I'm saying that right. And I would happily entertain them. But at your direction, sir, just wherever you wish me to start.
Thank you. I'll open the floor to any council. If you have questions regarding the report that we did receive.
So this reporting system is a little bit new under the now, Community Policing Safety Act, which replaced the, Police Services Act on, April 1st of 2024. So this report is generated, from, you have to excuse me, I'm, in terms of technology, I'm probably not Y2K compatible, but, a new system that's been, put out by the OPP to provide, accurate stats for any time period, really year to date, certain months. So what I did was I encompassed, stats from, October to December of 2024, which also backdated, statistics, through 2022 and 2023 as well for comparison.
Councilor Allen.
My question is, what is the requirement of the amount of officers patrolling our areas? Currently,
So we have a, what we refer to as a daily activity report that each officer fills out on a daily basis. And our complement is a lot, our FTEs, our full-time equivalents, which we refer to them as, is dependent on the work that the officers do. Typically, calls for service is the biggest one. So depending on the amount of calls for service that come into the municipality and how they're coded through DART by the officers, which would determine the call members. And I heard His Worship Diamond refer to the Matheson attachment being closed. That building is near and dear to my heart. I've spent my whole career in this area, and so those officers now work out of the River Falls attachment by the Monteith Correctional Center. But it would be dependent on that. I can certainly get you the exact number of officers that are assigned to the Matheson detachment. Just trying to navigate through the vacancies that we have. I believe it's in the neighborhood of 10.
Councilor McCutcheon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this kind of piggybacks on hers. So when the OPP, like how many roaming cruisers do we have in the detachment on a day shift or a night shift?
We typically, for officer safety, we try to make sure we have 2 officers working in each area minimum. We would typically have officers in each officer in a single cruiser during the day shift hours. Night shift presents a whole different dynamic, so we would probably have the officers double up after dark or after 10 p.m. typically in our police orders, and we would have 2 during the day, 2 cruisers patrolling this zone, and we would certainly never have more than 2 or more than 2 officers patrolling, but we try to make sure our officers would know about their safety. If a call came in that required the officers to have a backup car, then a backup car would be here, and that would be we need to make sure that the officers have assistance to be able to handle the call depending on the severity. So we never had to make sure we have 2 officers, so which would be 2 River Falls and 2 Black River per shift.
Are we receiving less since the detachment closed? Can we say that we're receiving less coverage in our 5 communities since that closure? I guess it's sort of the gist of these questions that are coming.
I wouldn't say we're receiving less. The officers who were assigned to the Matheson detachment before the actual office closed understand that is still their inherent responsibility to control the area. Even given the fact that they work out of the River Falls office now. I wouldn't say there's less. It's because of sometimes the reactive nature of our job, we end up pivoting maybe to another area, and again, maybe needing the officers needing some backup and some assistance for a call. I use the example of a serious motor vehicle collision on Highway 11, where we might have half the platoon there. And then trying to make sure we've got officers free in the event that there's a call in the community.
Mhm.
So I would say the level of service has remained the same.
Just before you, I just, from I spend most of my time within the urban center of Madison here. But I can't honestly say I remember the last time I saw a no BP card in here. Now, I know that's gonna be hard to answer, but, we have a representative from the library here today, the CEO of the library. And they've come to council many times and said that the speeding is way in excess just on that street in front of the public library. But I can't honestly give them any resolution if I can't myself say I've seen I can't remember the last time I saw an OPP car in town.
Okay.
So,
Well,
and I
I
know,
will never
I'm
fix that.
assuming Councillor Allen is gonna say the same thing for Voltaire, but I'll let, go ahead.
Well, I have seen lots of OPP within our area lately, which is nice to see. They do come down every night between 8 and 9 o'clock. I do see them driving around, which is nice to see. Unfortunately, immediately after they leave is usually when the kids come out to play. So my concern is the amount of officers that we have covering such a large area seems very detrimental to the time frame it takes for them to actually get to a call. So when a call is made and a concern is raised, the amount of time it takes for them to go, let's say they're in Shillington and the call is from Holtire. That's quite a ways for them to go from point A to point B to get there and sufficiently act in the best interest of whoever they need to do. But many things could happen in that response time, which is the part that concerns me because we are such a vast community. And for two cruisers to be at, let's say, either end of the community and have to try and get to a call or something like that, it's very time consuming for them to get there. And my concern, like I said, is that maybe people aren't getting the adequate service that they should be getting in certain situations because of the lack of officers within the area and the large space we cover.
You are right, it is a large geographical area. The actual South Porcupine cluster itself, if you is huge. It's probably equates to the size of Prince Edward Island. It is a big area, and Matheson takes up quite a bit of that area because we would go right to the Quebec border. And then halfway to just on the other side of Reed Lake, in terms of the actual size of this. So
Yes.
what I would endeavor, and I will certainly take these concerns back to to our detachment sergeants for our next detachment internal our command meeting that we hold actually quite regularly to make sure these concerns, because I really do want to hear what the issues are. In terms of what's going on around the library, for sure. And I did see that there was a concern about speed in the delegate or in the forum that was given to me by Mr. Lee. If there is a concern in the village about traffic safety, we have a very simple thing that we do is we create what we call a focus patrol. If we know that there's speeding in a certain area and speed limits aren't being adhered to, we create what we call the focus patrol, and we'll pay a lot more attention to that area. And typically in a smaller population, if we've conducted some enforcement, word gets out usually pretty quick. But we need to know those things. And I mean, the conduit is anybody can call me. It doesn't have to be a specific person. And raise their concern with the detachment commander. I may not be in this chair for a whole lot longer. The Staff Sergeant Paye was on a secondment to Anishinaabe Police and may be returning within the next month. But I know he would echo what I'm saying in terms of any concerns that mayor, council, administration, any person, any citizen has, to make sure that the police are aware of it. We can certainly address it in short order and make sure that it gets the attention that it needs. if you're saying that, there's issues when the sun goes down and there's, and we're given a specific area that we need to pay attention to, then those are things that the shift sergeants can instruct their members to pay more attention to as well. I find this very important. We need to know this. So I appreciate your concern and your question. We'll make sure those things are really addressed.
So,
Sorry, I'm gonna bug you on this. So part of the thing of having only two officers around, one is Highway 11. Just the overall, the traffic on Highway 11, the school buses that run up and down there, we were having a problem with that. Well, for the whole year. I started driving school bus in January of last year, and I had several vehicles drive through the stop sign. I called and complained. I also, now that I'm no longer driving school bus, I have had other school bus drivers contact me and say the same thing has been happening to them on Highway 11. So with only two police cars that are traveling the routes, is there a way that we can have a delegated officer that runs up Highway 11, 101, things like that, where school buses run during the times that school buses run, to ensure that these laws are being enforced and these drivers are being charged with the appropriate things? Because lots of these school buses that are in the area don't have cameras on them, and they don't, we don't always have parents or anything like that to take videos. And there has been a couple of close calls, even when I was driving bus. And it's very scary for the parents to sit there and watch. A lot of them are transports that are driving through, and there's a big need for the patrols to happen more so on Highway 11 with all the accidents and stuff happening, especially in the winter conditions. Just to kind of protect the children and things like that.
No, absolutely. Again, where we hear a very legitimate and alarming concern when it comes to school buses and school bus safety. I'm not here to tell you war stories of a 30-year career in policing, but I can tell you that we've had some close calls that I investigated over the years where a young child was almost hit by a car that decided to drive up the shoulder of the highway while the bus was stopped. And the bus driver pulled the door shut at the time. So again, these are the things that we need to hear. If this is a concern, we can get officers to be out on the roads when buses are moving and address those concerns. The Highway Traffic Act, and I realize that not every motor vehicle has dash cam capabilities, and certainly maybe the buses don't, but it's the hard part when you're enforcing the Highway Traffic Act is you have to identify the driver of the motor vehicle. And those are the things that we have to make sure are done. We now have automated license plate reading devices attached to pretty much all of our frontline cruisers, as well as in-car cameras, which if we were to observe an offense would be, the best evidence that we could possibly have, right? So these are methods that we can utilize that are going to enhance our enforcement capabilities. And certainly when we know that there's there's a timeline when the municipality has a big concern for children to be on the buses and getting on and off, and tractor trailers on the highway are a huge thing. Your village runs right through the Trans-Canada Highway. So it is a concern. It's a concern for us. Commercial motor vehicle safety is a big thing these days. So we certainly, without digressing too far, it's certainly something that I'll make note of and make sure that we address.
Thank you.
great, thank you. Going to cut you off there because we received word we're past the time limit. So I appreciate you coming out, and if it's you or if it's Mr. Paye next time, we'll be glad to receive you, and thank you for the report. We hope for continued reports.
Absolutely. And if it is me and if it is Renee, I'll make sure that I can give him some information on the concerns that you have, so you'll have some sense of what we've done to follow up.
Great.
With your permission, your worship, may I be excused?
Absolutely, we appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. And just for noting, the library CEO is sitting at the far end of your row, so.
When you work tomorrow, ma'am, I'm gonna give you a call. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Gadry, second by Councillor Charbonneau, be resolved that council receive the delegation from the OPP. All in favor? Carried. Second delegation is the Madison Minor Hockey Association. I don't know who is speaking, but go on forward. Oh, thank you. Same spiel, 10 minutes, give us a couple minutes for questions, if you don't mind. If you could just introduce yourself too, so that
Hi, my name is Carol Lee. So mayor, councilors, honored guests, and neighbors. I thank you for the opportunity to be here with you tonight. I am a longtime resident of Madison, and I am the recently elected president of Black River Madison Minor Hockey, also known as the RMNHA. It is no secret that our community has gone through difficult times in recent months and even years. Today, I wish not to look back on the struggles that we've encountered as a community, but rather, I wish to share with you the resilience of our community that is also shared with this hockey association. Our wish is to work together with council to improve our local arena, known as Vern Miller Arena, through the use of craft hockeyville competition. As a town that has long embraced the spirit of hockey, I would like to seek the municipality's support and approval to apply for the craft hockeyville competition. It is an initiative that would help us make upgrades to our local arena and further foster the community's deep connection to the sport. Craft Hockeyville is a special program that celebrates the communities where hockey is more than just a sport. It is a way of life. Through this competition, winning communities receive a substantial funding to improve their hockey facilities. We, the members of the RMHA, believe that our town would be an ideal candidate to represent the heart and the passion of hockey culture. Our local rink, though cherished, is in need of upgrades to ensure that it continues to serve for future generations of hockey players and their families. What excites me the most about this community, this opportunity with Craft Hockeyville, is the potential to strengthen the bonds within this community. Hockey, for many of us, isn't just about the game. It's about the shared experiences, bringing people together and fostering a sense of pride and belonging. From the youngest skaters to the seasoned players, our arena has been and continue to be a gathering place where friendships are formed, memories are made, and community spirit thrives. Winning the Craft Hockeyville grant would enable us to embrace the space, ensuring it remains a welcoming and safe environment for all who wish to participate. According to the rules and regulations of Craft Hockeyville application, we, the association, must state our top 3 wishes as to how the monies will be spent. Today, as the spokesperson, it is my pleasure to share with you our wishes. Our application would state that we need an appropriate office for the dedicated staff who operate our arena. As I understand, they have taken over, with good reason, what was previously called the referee room. Although this is workable, I believe the employees deserve a dedicated room that meets their needs. The second wish is closely related to the first. With the loss of the referee room, the refs have asked to use room 2, also known as closet for us. This room has no showers and has caused the Pots Association to have referees refuse to refer games, causing the association to pay fines that deplete the monies that should be used toward ice times for our players. There has been times where referees have taken over much needed change rooms. The referees also deserved, and according to regulations, require an appropriate and dedicated room that will meet their needs. Bringing me to our final and most important wish. The Vern Miller Arena requires more change rooms. With the welcome addition of mixed teams, there is a great need for a dedicated girls' change room. There also needs to be additional change rooms in our arena for VRMHA to continue to grow and expand. By this, I mean that we, the association, see the potential of hosting tournaments at our beloved Vern Miller Arena, requiring additional change rooms to accommodate the participating team. This wish is our biggest and most vital request. In addition to the direct improvements to the rink, the application for Craft Hockeyville offers us a chance to showcase our community in a broader audience. The entire process of rallying together for this application, whether it's through local events, social media campaigns, or volunteer efforts, would further unite us as a town. This is more than just a chance to win funding. It's an opportunity to highlight what makes our community special, the pride we take in supporting each other, the joy we find in coming together, and the passion we have for hockey. With this in mind, I respectfully request the municipality's formal support in applying for the Craft Hockeyville competition. Having the municipality's endorsement would not only lend credibility to our efforts, but also show the strength we shared as a commitment to the future of our local rink and hockey community. If you have any questions, I would be happy to provide you with the information. I thank you for your time, your thoughtful consideration for this request. I truly believe that with your support, we can make this vision a reality and take a significant step in improving our beloved community space for years to come. In light of the importance of this request, for our association and for our community, and in order to allow us a reasonable time to complete our video submission, I kindly request a response by February 14th, 2025. This will greatly assist us in moving forward with our submission. I thank you for your attention at this request, and I look forward to your timely response. Respectfully, PRNH.
Thank you very much. I will open the floor to any questions or comments. Councilor Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually, a couple weeks ago, the Hockey Craft, Hockeyville competition actually came across my computer, and I actually read through it. I think it's a great thing that Carol and me is asking us to give them our support with.
Mhm.
I support it 100%.
Any questions, comments? Councilor Goddard.
Mr. Mayor, I was just wondering, as far as support, what specifically do you need from us?
Just the permission to move forward because it is a township operated building and we would be seeking funds to make changes to something that we do not own. So by having the support, those are our 3 wishes. But we, as per the rules of Craft Hockeyville, we need to have 3 wishes. And so as long as you support what our wishes are, we can work together later on to decide where the monies go. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself by saying we will win this. But I have all the faith in the world in our community.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Allen.
I'm just curious, so the 3 wishes that you've brought up is what you would like to see happen, but should we win and we get the money, if something changed, and would you be able to use the money for something other than just those 3 wishes?
At this time, I'm not aware of if that can be done. I do know that there's probably a little bit of leeway because when you're looking at making changes, there definitely can be some portions of that money that will go to unforeseen expenses.
And the second part of that is if, let's say those 3 wishes, again, you win 3 wishes, but it ends up costing 260,000 and you win 250,000. Where will the difference of that $10,000?
That is in part where support from the township comes in.
Okay,
I think that before the money was spent, there needs to be some planning to put in place. So hopefully there will not need to be an overlap in seeking funding elsewhere.
Okay.
Along with Councilor Campbell, I agree. I have 5 grandnieces, I guess they're called, grandnieces, nephews, or I have, yeah, grandnieces. So I've got 5 that live on one street in this town. And it'd be awesome to see them coming back to this arena, because we did take a hit in the last 2 years in this arena, so I think support is 100% needed, especially if somebody's handing us the money.
Yes.
So having said that, any other questions, comments? Nope. I'll read the motion then. It was moved by Councillor Charbonneau, seconded by Councillor Allen. Be it resolved that council receives the delegation from the Maston Minor Hockey Association, and further that council supports and encourages their participation in the Craft Hockeyville contest for funding. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. The last delegation is a request for a letter of support to pause demolition of the Masson train station and declare it a heritage site. All right. Perfect. Don't know if you can breeze through it in 10 minutes, but we'll
Oh,
try.
I'd fly through it. That's a lot of pages, but we don't have to read. I
Okay,
usually stand up. I'm a teacher, so this is,
we can if you want.
I reach, you know
No.
what, this is fine.
Okay.
This is fine. That's good for me. It'll keep me in control. Thank you so much, for opening up some time to hear what we have to say today. We really do appreciate it. I put a little intro here. I hope everyone did get the papers that we handed out. We're very happy to be appearing before council on behalf of the Friends of Matheson Railway Station. This council was elected on a platform of transparency, fiscal responsibility, and desire to listen and represent people of Blackburn Matheson. And as Mayor Diamond mentioned in his really powerful message there before we moved into these delegations, there have been some misunderstandings and concerns, about concerning a lot of things. And the station is certainly not really one of these things. But so we are working our way through some of these. There's an education piece there. There's a listening to people's voices and hearing what needs to be said and finding out what really has happened. We've come through a very turbulent time as a community, and I think we're things have fallen through the cracks, and we're working really hard to get us out of that, and we really appreciate the hard work. So I just want to refer this is a little backwards approach here, but I put what on the front, what is most relevant to you, but I just wanted to mention there's an appendix in the back of the pages here that is just supporters. We are a very small group, but we've been working really hard to reach out to people who are interest groups, and they have started reaching out to us. And so there's some heavy hitters that have kind of come behind us and have said, listen, we're going to step up and help you. Any of you been through this, or this is what our agency can do to help. So the last page has just a quick little summary of things that we have been working on. There have been many letters written, many phone calls, many conference calls, a lot of learning that's been done. So I won't read them though, because I can make that available to anyone if anyone wants to, that's listening over the computer and wants to contact me. I can certainly make this all available to you. So what I do want to mention though is the ONR meeting yesterday, which was really very productive. I think it was very positive for all sides. It was really good. And so some of those that were in on that were, of course, Chad Evans, the CAO of ONR, Kate Bondette, the Senior Communications Manager, Don Cornthwaite, you'll recognize that last name, is a civil engineer with 40 years of experience behind him in building and high-level road construction and big projects. And he's our consultant, Lucille Frick, TAO Director, co-chair of the Northeastern Ontario Railway Network, Peter Misek, President of Transport Action Canada, Terry Johnson, President of Transport Action, Ontario and Canada, is Daniel Dyshaw, Executive Director of Ontario Historical Society, of course, us, Friends of Matheson Railway Station. And then the two things that I would add, particularly First Nations Chief June Black was not able to attend. And she was hoping to make it here. I don't think she made it. She was in Timmins and she did message me and was going to try to make it back, and she was not able to attend yesterday either. she was trying to get on that and we will make information available from that meeting. We did record it, and so if you do want to hear it in its full, we do have a transcript from it as well. And of course, Mayor Diamond wasn't sure if he could make it. He did request a link. And I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. I think that was another fall through the cracks kind of communication thing. We were already in a meeting in the afternoon. And so we do have that bit available to you if you want to listen in on that, or, you know, read the transcript. We do have the kind of key points here though that we'll touch on. So I apologize for
Okay,
that.
I'll cut you off. I won't take part of your 10 minutes, but I'll say that, yeah, the link didn't come through,
Okay,
but I did speak to Mr. Evans
Okay.
after the meeting.
okay, yeah,
But there were, something to do with if an elected official was to be part of that meeting, he would have
yes.
had to have had notice, so I
Okay.
would have been booted.
okay, all right, and there were a couple of other people that were not
Yeah.
allowed, and
Yeah.
and that they did say no, okay, so, well, there, phew, that took care of that. Okay, so I just want to run through just a really quick summary of points that came out of the meeting, because there were some very important things that we learned and that they learned, and it kind of came all together. So ONR shared a timeline of events so far and heard the group's concerns. There was it was very positive, and there was some info on all sides that we learned. Biggest request for us, of course, was looking for time to secure council support and to not demolish the building, obviously. ONR said that they need council support as an obvious partner in order to move forward with this at all. Ellis Dawn is a contractor that has the station upgrades and including the demolition of the Matheson station. The building condition assessment summarized 2 million to bring building to current standards, including safety and structural repairs. ONR also mentioned sightline concerns and with building at its current location related to visibility around the building. There were some questions about that were brought up, but anyway, Lucille Frith described her experience with unskilled building assessment for repair costs, and it's a very similar situation to Matheson. The estimates were very high, and they're also very high, as ours are very high, but because they work from the grassroots end of things, anyone who's done this kind of work knows that if you're able to do things yourself, if you're able to do things with in-kind donations, volunteer labor, you know, donate, you know, whatever, you know, all of those things that we know happen in a community like this, then the result was actually significantly cheaper. In fact, I believe she said it was about 1/4. So that's really significant. ONR mentioned community monument plan for the site. Don Cornthwaite, our engineering consultant, raised issues related to the cost of demolition or simple relocation, or for moving the building to a new location on a new foundation. He also raised the need for property, if it is moved, either severing a piece of ONR land or leasing existing land. He also mentioned leaving the front access to the building for train users. And so that would be where it was originally used, so that there would be a piece that was saved for that. So ONR listened, but they held their options other than, and opinions other than saying that we raised some valid points. RFC, that would be me, also mentioned other community partners that are in favor of maintaining the building and supporting financially. We had a big offer of local business support yesterday with an in-kind offer. Actively, the First Nations, Anishinaabe First Nations have expressed interest, and we are to meet with Chief Jude Black on Thursday morning. They're very interested in participating in this. Don Cornthwaite also mentioned the signatures just on the petition that we've had out. So there are ones that have gone to MP John Van Toff's office. We don't know how many are there yet, and the ones that we had in hand yesterday at our meeting were about 15% of immediate community support. Of course, we know there are a lot in the community that would not be able to be signing these. We do have on the support on the back page, there is a mention of the Mennonite community. We do approach the Mennonite community, and there's definitely support for keeping the station and for restoring it. So Chad Evans made the comment that he supports the history, especially the train history. Then Terry Johnson of the Transport Action Canada talked about sightlines and how this concern of ONRs can be met. He also asked the ONR to consider giving time to the community to solidify support and line up the finances. He also requested access to the building by the committee with contractor and proper PPE in order to assess the damage, especially that of the foundation, as this would be one factor in the decision to move the building. Lucille Frith talked about the site plans for the existing station and the new shelter and pointed out there is very little overlap in the plans. She requested O&R look at moving 2 parking spots in order to allow us to the building, to keep the building where it is. Chad Evans said this would be new money going into the project, but I believe it was pointed out that the savings, demolishing the building would be significantly higher. So, so working together, of course, it was just very, very positive. And of course, I got a call this morning at 6 o'clock saying that the demolition has been stayed for 30 days. We've been given this window. And, so our job now is to come up with a finance proposal to, save the building and bring it into a useful life again. So we need a purpose for that. So we've already begun working on this and we are optimistic that we will be ready. You all need a lot of optimism for a big project. So now we're going to jump up to the front end. So this is the part that really, I think, concerns where we're at now. Okay. So the potential benefits to the community. So some of them maybe are not like fiscal necessarily, but I think that they're also very important. But first of all, tax dollars from a building rather than a bus shelter. I don't know how much of the taxes are that come in on a building, but I know that it would be less for the, I said bus shelter. It looks like a bus shelter, for the acrylic shelter. I think the tax dollars, there would be more if there's a building there. There's no station filling up the dump. Now, this is said not knowing what the plan was for whether it's going to go into our current type of dump site or not. So, you know, that might not, might be an assumption there, but that was a concern that was raised by some community members. This is a visual reminder of our past as a community. It's an opportunity for positive connections between groups within the Black River Matheson community, including Abitibi Nation, First Nation, and Mennonite communities. It's a chance to prove to the watching world that we can work together. I think that that's something that we are hungry for as a town, and this council has definitely brought us to a place where we can do this. So that's a wonderful thing. So it's also can be a tourist attraction, depending on what is done with it. With a new hotel coming to town, thanks to the work of this council, there's, you know, something else that could potentially be, you know, be something that people can do. And it's something else to draw folks from downtown for. And one of the ideas that has been tossed around on Facebook site, I'm sure some of you have seen it, is there have been suggestions that it could be maybe a solution to the problem with the museum, but the museum that's, you know, that we will have access that has artifacts and things, and they said, oh, it would be great. So we don't know if that can be done. We're not there yet. We've just been focusing on trying to save the building, and now we have to have a plan. So we do want to open that up to the community and get, you know, input into that and put together a plan. But if it was used for the museum, it would be a solution of the museum problem as well as the station problem. You know, potential tax dollars from the sale of the old museum once we're done with the project. It would make great apartments maybe or something, but somebody would be paying taxes then again on that building. It would be a better location for the Thelma Miles Museum if that is done. And of course, this whole thing would be a real legacy gift for our children. So we have to have a proposal, and we have to have the money. So the proposal, we do want to open this up to the community. And we're just at the start of that process, and we do want to have a meeting of community residents and make sure that we are listening to voices and hearing what people think. We get people together, and it's amazing the ideas that they come up with. And sometimes something is said, it sparks an idea, and it just, you know, it becomes a vision. And when we're working together, that vision can become a reality. Now, the really interesting part, of course, is the money. The avenues that we are already pursuing, we're working on this already. So money from the canceled demolition would be the first money that we would go after. So our engineer's estimate of the demolition is $150,000. He does work with this all the time, and so it's probably a pretty fair estimate. So we've been told that there can be negotiation to access some of those funds. So I don't know that all of them, because if there are other, you know, new money that's needed to be do another surveying, and depending on what they decide to do, there might be money that needs, that needs to come out of that, on top of the hands. So we don't know how much, but even if it was half, the cost, if we had to move the building, depending on the condition of the foundation, if it's not repairable and we needed to move it, then, we're looking at, our estimate is, $80,000 to do that move. So even if it paid for the move, you know, move on a new basement, that would be, you know, that would be a significant part of, our expenses right there. Heritage restoration grants, if we do pursue the heritage designation, which does require the participation of council in this, and us working together on this, then we would have, with this designation, we would have access to grant money. If there was a museum, you know, if we decided to go that avenue, then the museum also would give us opportunities to apply for grants. So that's a pretty, you know, you're kind of doubling up there. And so that's one thing that is really that makes it a promising suggestion. The local mines, we've already reached out to 2 mining companies requesting consideration. One of those was at the table yesterday at the meeting to hear some about it. Charitable donations, once we have our not-for-profit status, we will apply for charitable donation number. In-kind donations, as I said, we've already been offered support by a company just yesterday that has a capacity to help us in some pretty significant ways. And volunteer work, of course, is a key part of keeping costs down. Looking at Huntsville's, example. So on the other side, then there's a picture of the station. This is something that it's just really amazed me. I've been watching. I posted this picture. Somebody from our committee had taken the picture and had got wording put on it. We posted it up. And this photo, I've just been watching the number go up. As of today, 11,100 people to date have looked at this picture, have read these words, and have shared it, have liked it, whatever. So that's a lot of money. That's my mind jumping, because when you have that kind of support, then you've got people who care, people who are interested, people who have roots in the community, or are train lovers, see the station as part of the stations of Ontario and want to see them saved. And then we are able then to appeal for financial support through donations is a very important part of this piece as well. So that's where we're at. So what we're not asking from council is money. We are not asking for money like that. We want to make that really, really clear. We know that you have a lot of other things that money needs to go toward. But what we are asking for is we are asking for support in principle for the aims and workings of our group with no financial commitment. And we're asking for input as to the use of the building, which may help solve some municipal challenges. If you can, this is not for today necessarily, but for you to talk about and see if there's something that you would like to see done. We are looking for support for requests, though, which are not monetary. We're going to have to work together to make this happen. There's going to have to be some level. We're looking at property that belongs to O&R, but if you're moving something or whatever, that all has to involve. So we are looking, so as able and at the council discretion, requests which are not monetary. For example, now this is something that Iroquois Falls has done, and so we are applying for a not-for-profit status. It does take time for that to come in. Once you have that, then you can apply for charitable status so that you can give out receipts. However, the township already has charitable status. I don't know if that's because of the museum or what it is, but this is, they already have charitable status. So if we are able to use the donation mechanism that's already in place until we can get ours up and running, you know, if there's a way that we can partner that way, we have to look into it, right? Get the background and find out about that. But we can start receiving donations sooner. So input into the proposal we're preparing, including reviewing and suggesting revisions where necessary. And the one thing, if we're applying we're filling out fundraising forms for applications, we might need Black River Matheson to be the applicant in trust for us until we get our not-for-profit status. So that's another thing that I don't know if it will need it, but just those are examples of things that are not asking for money, but are asking for support in that. Also support in the designation of the property. We did give a package that had the proposed designation. I since have had somebody reach out from a heritage group that said, send us your heritage designation, your heritage evaluation. Let us look at it and give you input. So I think that it's probably, we need to pause that a little bit and we'll bring a more finished version of that to you. And then one thing though is we would like you to share the building condition assessment with us. ONR indicated that contractual agreement does not allow their sharing of it. So you can look into that if you are allowed to. It did seem like there was some space there that we would be okay to that you would not be held by that same agreement. So those are the things that we're asking. So yeah, phew.
All that in 10 minutes, eh?
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much. I'll read the resolution and then we'll open up for questions and comments. It was moved by Councilor Guthrie, second by Councilor Bouchard. Be it resolved that council receives the delegation presented by Irma Clark regarding the demolition of the Master Railway Station, and further that council supports the petition and the efforts to pause the demolition of the property and building. So I'm going to open that up to questions or comments from council. Open that. Councilor Al.
We have to change the name.
It says,
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry.
the other thing is because of the rapidly changing situation here and the news that we received, I don't know if I don't know that the petition is still needed. That's the other thing. But it is, it's a vote of support.
Okay. So I guess the principle, and I know that some of us have spoken, is the principle is this is not a monetary request.
Absolutely
right?
not.
Okay.
We've got deep pockets.
Okay.
The friends will.
Question, Councilor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick question. Does that resolution include all of these that say what we are asking for? Or is it just the?
Really?
So through the mayor. Through the mayor. This was done before we see all the documents, so you guys can update it as you wish. The way it's worded right now, it would be to cause a demolition which has already been carried through. So you may want to amend it as to.
Thank you. I just find that with all this support, there's no monetary value, but we're gonna be spending a lot of office time on it. I know we have lots of stuff on the go. We just got a new management team. We're already behind by a year. Like, at the end of the day, it becomes a monetary ask.
Yeah, it's become in-kind donation.
Yeah.
For 30 days. Because I guess we're assuming in 30 days if
And yeah,
the proposal isn't acceptable to
right.
the Ontario Northland, then our efforts are
Yeah, and some of these asks are really, they might not need to be, but I just want, they're examples of things, like, I think there are some there that we probably won't, and I wouldn't see it as something written in stone, and is as you're able at the time, and as you decide you're able to do it. There are things like if it were charitable donation receipts, like we do those all the time with our church. We're a charitable organization. We understand what's involved, and we can bring somebody in that could work with, we would have volunteers, maybe they could help with something like that. There are some things, we understand that you are very busy, and we understand that you are, that if you are willing to support us, we're not going to be a needy child. There might be some things in this next 30 days, because we do need to get this, we are given a deadline. So it might mean that we need to attend the mayor in the chat time or something, and we need to reach out to somebody and ask something. We're hoping that, I'm hoping that we don't have to do this every time, right? Once this is done and we're working, then as you're able and as you're willing, that, we can, receive the support. Like, we don't also don't want to be, told that, oh, well, we'll give you that paper, but, it's gonna cost you whatever. Like that kind of work too.
Councilor Sherrill?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say, like, I 100% agree with saving the history of the station. But if you read this and you see, BRM has applicated in trust and we are already for charitable status. If anything goes through the town, it will have to be gone through the town's book. That means our treasurer will have to do it. Not
Right.
somebody else, not a volunteers. Our staff will have to do it, no matter what.
Yeah, so then you would not be in that case, right? That would be your decision. It is up to council. This is not a binding.
Yeah,
No,
that's
this is
just my
not-
concern, is that would be our,
Yeah.
we're not just expressing support, we're going past support.
Yeah. Well, it is something that is going to require some level of a working relationship. So kind of,
So if we put in to our support at the discretion of the town manager. So if Mr. Lee sometimes feels that he's had enough, we're spending 20 hours a week of
Yeah.
time on this, it leave it to discretion, make Mr. Lee the bad guy. Well, as long as we give you the support and you can work with him, and if
sure,
he wants to find an avenue where we can work together, where it doesn't disrupt the municipal office, trying to go forward, but at least we're still moving forward to help.
yeah, absolutely. That's, I think, completely.
Yeah, if he does some research and finds that the charitable donation is just gonna cost us, hours and hours of time, then he can just tell no, and
Yeah, and I don't know, I hope that is the one thing, probably the one single thing, because it would mean that we can do this sooner, but we have to look into. Well, we know, we have to maybe talk to somebody in York Falls and see kind of what was done there and,
Yep.
what.
perfect. So I don't know if council's agreeable now, if we'll just change it so that, oh, it's already done. Okay. If we're okay with that, I'll reread the resolution then. Moved by Councillor Gadri, second by Councillor Bouchard. Be it resolved that council receives the delegation presented by Barb Cornthwaite regarding the demolition of Matheson Railway Station, and further that council supports a petition and efforts to pause the demolition of the property and building at the discretion of the town manager. So we're supporting it, and Mr. Lee can
We'll work out
help.
Yeah, work out the details, because I think, because an English teacher, I think there's something tricky in there, but I think we understand what.
Okay.
What we can do. So.
Councillor Sherman.
There's also a lot of factors. If the building has to be moved, where is it gonna be moved to? Are we expected to donate a piece of property for it? Are we expected to help with the cost of moving?
No,
There's lots.
no,
Yeah,
absolutely
but-
not.
Yeah, we've discussed this as no financial commitment.
And then if a non-for-profit organization takes it over and manages to revamp the building, it's almost guaranteed that the non-profit organization will come and ask for a tax rebate, right? Like what do you call it?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But then at
Exemption,
that choice, we can say no. Or say yes.
Yeah, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that we don't bind ourselves into something we can't come out.
We're aware, and so is the public aware, that we're in no financial position to
No,
buy a train station. So we're supporting the group to try and save the station. If you, I spoke to Mr. Evans, again, last night. If you come up with a plan and it's feasible, then it's yours.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Right, so I've read the resolution. It was ready to vote on it. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you
Thank you very much.
very much.
We certainly appreciate it.
We're gonna move on to new business. Moved by Counselor Allen, seconded by Counselor Gathery, be it resolved that council hereby approves the attendance of. It's left blank intentionally at the 2025 Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities Conference. Open up for. Counselor Allen.
I think, Hanji and the mayor should be going to this to, ensure we get all the information brought back to us appropriately.
Anybody else have a? Counselor Sheriff.
I agree with Counselor Allen.
Counselor McCutcheon.
I agree with Councilor Charbel and Councilor Allen that two of you should attend the conference. Good idea.
Well, I won't continue around the table then. I'll reread the resolution. Moved by Counselor Helm, second by Counselor Gathery, be resolved that council hereby approves the attendance of the town manager and the mayor at the 2025 Phenom Conference. All in favor? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Moved by Councilor McCutcheon, seconded by Councilor Charbonneau, be it resolved that council hereby approves the treasurer's attendance at the Northeast Finance and Administration Forum. Questions, comments? All those in favor? Let me see one here. Missing a resolution. I'll have to get a move and a seconder for this one. If I could get a move and a seconder for that one then. Sure. Moved by Councilor McCutcheon, seconded by Councilor Charbonneau. Be it resolved that council hereby approves the township of Black River Masson to be the co-applicant on the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation application submitted by Shillington Community Hall, file 7500231, Generac Fund and Stecan. Questions, comments, Councilor Charbonneau?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I thought we already had a generator going to Shillington.
We applied. Previous council. I'm going to turn toward our treasurer. See, do we have an update? Because I know there was some unique findings there, but are we any further with that?
I do believe we received funds for, 2 generators. I haven't had time to look into both, where we stand with this grant, but that came about when I got word that Shillington was looking at it as well.
Okay.
I would have to get back to you on, like, are we able to use the funds at different columns?
And so would we be in a bad position to continue with this application if we already had funds, or are we doubling up, or? I'm assuming by the time we would find out about the results of the NOHFC, that we would maybe be in a position that we could get an answer from Treasury as to whether those funds are available. That makes timeline sense? So in that case, we could just continue to give them the support, and then if they're successful, we'll figure something out, and if they're not successful, and we already have the funds, then we'll just continue.
Yeah, hopefully, if they are successful, hopefully we can move it to another hall. We have other halls that can use it.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions or comments on that? All in favor? Carried. On to reports, 12A, moved by Councilor McCutcheon, second by Councilor Elm, be resolved that council received report number TMC 2025-002, the town manager update, attached herein as information. Any questions or comments on that? Councilor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say, thank you. We, got the forensic audit RFP put out today. It's a very good thing. We're just looking for the lawyers and the integrity.
Any other questions, comments? No. And I'll comment by saying it was very nice to see an in-depth, concise, clear, and long report. Nice to see. Helps give us proper guidance moving forward, so good to keep those up. Thank you. So all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Allen, second by Councilor McCutcheon, be it resolved that council receive report number DPS 2025-001, Director of Public Service update attached herein as information. Questions or comments? I just want to pick out one sentence in that report, which I really like. The Director of Public Services has been diligently reviewing vendor contracts to identify and eliminate unnecessary or redundant paid services. Having signed checks for the past 4 months, 5 months I'm going there, that's a breath of fresh air that between the treasurer and Mr. Jaguar in his first 10 days, 12 days, that we're moving forward. We're not wasting money, I guess is where we're going at. So it's nice to see and keep up the good work.
If I can, Mr. Mayor, the treasurer and Hunty have been a great support. You know, thank God they've been here. They've been able to give me a lot of guidance, and we're going to continue to work to these efficiencies, and it doesn't mean that we're not going to need contractors or that we don't need engineers, but we're going to make sure that when we're using the funds, we're using them appropriately.
Perfect. Are there any good news coming from your department that you want to?
I can confidently tell you that we have gotten a verbal commitment from a mechanic that will work directly for the corporation. Tentatively starting is February 9th. I cannot release his name because his current employer doesn't quite know yet. We have offered him the position. And before any rumors or whatnot, it is a local individual, and we're happy and can't wait for him to start.
On behalf of the council and probably residents, thank you very, very much. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor McCutcheon, seconded by Councilor Charbonneau, be it resolved that council receive report number T 2025-003, treasurer update, attached herein as information. Questions, comments? All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Guthrie, seconded by Councilor Bouchard, be resolved the council receive report number T 2025-002 attached herein as information. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Guthrie, seconded by Councilor Allen, be it resolved that council receive report Monahan Road update, Director of Public Services, attached herein as information. Questions or comments? Councilor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a note. If we were to be serious about looking at this road, we'd probably have to get an updated version. I guess it's 2021 on there. Right?
If I can, Mr. Mercer, yeah, so it's 2021 when it was, given to us. You'll see in the very short 130 some odd page document that was provided. There is projections up to like 2026. I think what we need to do, and don't worry, I've been told a couple of times, I gotta get my operating budget here figured out, hopefully within the first 14 days of February. So then we can start to look at what capital funds, can be allocated and come back with a recommendation, maybe look at a couple of phases. Like maybe phase 1 would be to look at centerline culverts and ditching. And then as to do it all in one, again, it would be a big undertaking. And in my past experience going with the patching, what is like the $8 million option, they did one in their fall last year, and it's our fault in part. So I think we would have to do a little more research for the spending parts.
Thank you.
And just to add to that, though, the Monahan Valgani Road. NTO is doing some work near Highway 11 near Valgani this year. I've reached out for confirmation to see exactly where they're going to be, because there could be an opportunity there to get a part of a road done at a fraction of the cost. If they're already there, we don't have to pay to get the equipment all transferred. So I'm just waiting for them to get back to me as well. Hopefully in time for both.
All those in favor? Moved by Councilor McCutcheon, second by Councilor Bouchard, be resolved that council receive report number DPS 2025-002 Pine Road, consideration of closure attached herein as information. Questions or comments? My question on that is, it wasn't a very favorable report as to doing anything with it, but I'll ask Director of Public Service, how do we proceed? Like, if there's an opportunity to go ahead with the closure, what is our next step?
If I can through you, Mr. Mayor, I would like a little more time to do a little research and reach out to a couple other professionals that have been in the municipality kind of thing for 25 plus years before trying to get an engineering involved, because that's going to cost us money. It doesn't look very favorable for us, to be completely honest with you. It's one process to close the bridge. As long as we're not landlocking any individual, we are well within our rights to close the bridge, or the process to closing the bridge, but we can do so. But to sell that bridge as an asset, that doesn't really even look like it's possible when you read the rules and regs for a municipality. So again, we would need to get legal involved with the engineering to come up with a path forward if possible. But I'd like a little more time to do a little bit more homework before we go to spend money. just for, you know, neighboring communities to tell us that they've tried this and we don't get around.
So that'll be ready on February 11th.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give you a firm date because, as much as I would like to tell the people I'm talking to to hurry up and get back to me, I think everyone's kind of busy right now, but it is on the top of my.
Fair enough. I got it. Any questions or comments? Those in favor? Moved by Council Allen, seconded by Council McCutcheon. Be resolved that council received the report DPS 2025-003 dozer number 80 respecting the landfill dozer. Open up to questions or comments from council. Council McCutcheon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I got a question. How much did it actually cost to fix the dozer? Because we had an estimate of $40,000 and then somebody else came along and it was running, but we don't have the cost and we don't know that cost.
If I can, Mr. Mayor's for you. So, I went back as far as I could and like without trying to interrogate people and bring people into the office, I'm gonna tell you what I found. It doesn't mean that there's not more to the story, but, with other pressing issues, I did want to allocate more time than I thought was necessary on the file as it didn't cost us that money. All I can say is that, there was a second contractor who was doing other work for the municipality. And through a general conversation, there was, I would try A, B, and C before voting to this ultimatum. Well, we did those things. The dozer came back to life. The first contractor that looked at it was more like, it looks like from what I'm seeing from the glance of an eye, without taking everything apart, this is what's wrong. So that recommendation went back to staff right away. And staff said, we're gonna hold off because that's a pretty big ticket item. Held off long enough to get the second opinion. Second opinion ended up working. The second half to this is the dozer was ready to go a little while ago. But a true transition and hiring new people over at Public Works, we ended up with very few individuals that could actually drive the float truck to get the dozer from one dump to the other dump. And it was the same individual who could drive a certain piece of equipment. So the decision was made to stay with the contract for taking care of the dump services while we trained our new staff. Now that staff has been brought in and have the appropriate licenses, we are now using our appropriate dozer and the contract is no longer.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? One thing I think we're gonna have to look towards in the future is when we talk about conflict of interest is we have to ensure that people that are quoting the repairs are not directly related to people that are the contractors affecting the repairs. That how's that for political stance, but I think we can't have that so that if your decision on providing a quote to repair something is going to affect your bid on a future contract in the same nature, we have to make sure that we have a policy in place. That's my 2 cents. So resolution, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Council McCutcheon, second by Council Guthrie, be resolved that council received the 2024 to 2025 Masson DWS inspection report and drinking water system dossier Masson attached herein as information. Any questions or comments on that? We have the expert in the room if there is, so. No? Oh, Councilor Bouchard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a question, are we required to do this kind of inspection for all four municipalities or just do Matheson as random?
Mr. Chirac is here from Aqua, so I'll let him answer that.
Hold it down. Yeah, perfect. Through the mayor to Councillor Bouchard. So these are administrative environment inspections that are done on an annual basis of all, the water facilities that are governed through Red 178 in Ontario. So same with Old Tire, Raymore was just done actually a couple of days later. And then Balgonia as well. So you guys will see those reports come forward through just for information. They don't need to be adopted in any sense. Our annual report that Aqua does has to be adopted by mayor and council as well. So we just provide these forward for everybody's information and transparency as your operating authority and all responsible operators.
Councillor Bouchard?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a question, how did we fare with the other three wells, three locations?
Through the mayor to Councillor Bouchard, we fared well on this one at 99.09. It was just one non-compliance, just relating to updating municipal contact information, previous CEO, previous clerk, etc. So I know we provided some documents to the town manager on January the 16th. I'm not sure were they processed to the NCP. Perfect. So all that is updated. We fared pretty good on the other ones. They don't give us anything when they do them on site saying, hey, are they good or bad? They'll be through the drafts and the actual reports that you see, but we had our overall responsible operator there, our compliance technician, and there was nothing that was brought forth to my attention that's of imminent danger or anything of great nature. At the same time, we've mentioned to the town manager as well as the director of public services to update the contact information for the other system because it will be non-compliance no matter what, just due to the transition, right? But not any concern to be worried on a topic like that.
Thank you, Chris. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor? By Councilor McCutcheon, second Councilor Allen. Oh, that's me. So I'll give you a quick update on the Romans. First, I was a 2.5 day or 3 day conference in Toronto. I have a big report here, but I'm just going to give you the highlights of items that were discussed. Collaboration across Ontario, talked quite a bit about that in a couple of our seminars. Talked about communications infrastructure, which with broadband was a very big item, and the lack of broadband, especially in Northern Ontario. Fire services come up quite a bit, and the cost for volunteer fire services. OPP cost was a big one. And I can tell you that we had an invoicement for OPP up here and it went down, which was nice. But a lot of municipalities way up here and only came down a wee bit. So I consider ourselves lucky this year. Homelessness and housing was a big item down there. Healthcare crisis, doctor shortages, all similar conversations at seminar, and no real answer in sight. The building community appeal, that was one of the items that was discussed, was how to attract doctors. So you have incentive factor, but you have to have more than an incentive package. You have to be an appealing community. We talked about economic and budget concerns, how effective municipalities are underfunded and overburdened. So same thing every year. We addressed rural recreational property taxes. And we're advocating for streamlining grant application processes, strengthening relationships, which I think our council has already started. We had an informal meeting with Apatipi around Christmas time, and trying to work our communities together. And then we also had another meeting with the Mennonite community in January. Again, just trying to strengthen relationships, helping with the grant process, but just proving to everybody we're all in this together. So Although they talked about it down there, we've already started that. We talked. We had some good talking about the provincial election, which is coming up, the reason why. But I will tell you that as we move forward and we go to another one, that Black River Masson will be better prepared to be represented on. There will be delegation, we'll have more delegation, we'll have better representation. We did a lot of networking, but we can always do better, and that'll be our goal next year, heading down there to be better at what we did this year. So it was well worth it, but we can be better. So be it resolved that council received the verbal report from the mayor regarding the attendance at the Roma conference in 2025. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Going to move on to our question and answer period. Before I do that, I'm going to really quickly. Our regular council meetings provide an opportunity for Black River Masson residents to submit questions pertaining to an item on the agenda or the business of council. Prior to approaching council, it is required that questions or comments regarding specific or issues or concerns first go through the proper Black River Masson personnel, so Director of Public Services or Compliance Officer. If the issue remains unsolved, it can then be brought forward to council. Question period is restricted to a 15-minute session at the conclusion of the regular council meeting. 3 minutes per resident will be permitted per meeting. The individual must state their name and ward in which they reside. Council reserves the right to defer questions in order to obtain the required information to provide an accurate response. If a question cannot be answered during the meeting, the response will be addressed at a subsequent council meeting. This question and answer period is not a substitution for formal delegation. Presentations, requests, and speeches are not permitted during question and answers. Members of the public who wish to submit questions via email can direct it to our town manager. Correspondence sent to the mayor and council may be included in a council agenda or package and become part of the public record. And just a reminder, council cannot answer questions about matters currently before the courts or anything pertaining to a closed council meeting. So one answer from last week, because Mr. Wilson had some questions, I answered them right away. We had a parking concerns on McDougall, and the answer is the bylaw officer has proactively reached out to the individuals parking at the corners to inform them of the issue. He's provided us with a more comprehensive plan, which includes reviewing and passing the administrative monetary penalties through bylaw for enforcement, developing and issuing physical infraction notices to address violations, transitioning to proactive enforcement where the bylaw officer will conduct regular patrols, and continuing to respond promptly to complaints that they are received. Can't remember who asked that question, but we're gonna make sure she gets that. Councillor Charbonneau?
I just had a few questions on that answer. One, first of all, do we have documentation of the visits? And when can we expect full-time patrolling?
That microphone. Mr. Lee?
I've been working in conjunction with my officer to push forward enforcement. Unfortunately, due to the onboarding process, he's been helping me a lot with my duties because there's been a little in the way of onboarding from my predecessor. So working towards a plan to get him patrolling more, but he has been on the streets, so I can get you documentation from the officer.
So, Councillor Sharp, I guess that's like we've got like proof or documentation that he did attend and inform the individual not to park there. Okay. I'm assuming just in case of like liability or something that we can say that we did attend on this day. Okay, perfect. I'll open up to the public now if they got any questions. Now is your time. Yes, sir.
I have a question about the trip to Toronto. Is that still coming up?
Sorry, we'll get your name first, then
Donald Madigan, I'm a volunteer. I look after the rink in Hull.
okay, yeah.
I have a question about the trip to Toronto. Is that you guys are still going to Toronto?
Which trip is that?
I don't know. We're paying for it, $7,000. With motels, and it was in one of your meetings, sir. Couple meetings ago.
Roma? Okay, we did have one conference that was last weekend. Sunday.
Why are the taxpayers paying for it? We shouldn't be paying for you guys to go to Toronto on a whatever kind of trip.
Okay.
It was rent a car, it was rooms, there was a whole bunch of other stuff.
Okay, we'll defer the answer till next week, just to give you.
No, the taxpayers here, they wanna know, none of these people here wanna pay for the trip to Toronto. It's just a waste of taxpayers' money.
I do.
So,
Well, there you go. You want it, this man wants to pay for that trip. I do not.
okay, well,
Well, we're not gonna get any money back. They're just going on a pleasure trip. Well, they didn't explain that to me.
well, no, I appreciate your question. We'll get you an answer.
Okay.
And I'll provide you what, as we did in the agenda when we were requesting the trip, what the whole trip was about.
Okay, that's what I like to know.
Yeah, so we did discuss it here and we had it was part of our agenda package that explained.
You said it was a Mario training trip? You had to go there to get educated?
Nope,
No?
it was meeting with, the premier was there.
Well, that's what you said on the YouTube. Was a marital training trip. Why do you need training?
No, it was Rural Ontario Municipal Association.
Okay, maybe I misheard.
Yeah, okay, I'll apologize.
Okay.
But we can get you that information. I can.
Well,
show
I
you.
thought you were already trained to be the mayor.
No,
You're doing a very good job. by the way.
I'm getting trained every day, learning
Okay.
every day. But we'll get that information just so that you're clear and concise as to why we went.
I got a comment about Hull Tire. They removed the snow today, and cleaned up the streets. They did a very good job. Made the streets wide and safe.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate the comments
Okay.
and,
That's the man responsible over
yeah,
there.
our Director of Public
Yeah.
Services.
Oh, okay. I thought you were the town foreman.
Town manager, but he's director of public.
Well,
services.
town manager, you're the one responsible, probably.
His department.
Well,
That's where the credit
you're doing a
is.
good job.
Great, thank you
Okay.
very much.
I'm a volunteer at the rink in Hull Tire, and I think I should be paid. When I did it for the township of Matheson, I was paid $4,000 for the 4 months. What I'd like to see is $4,000 taken off my taxes. And what I'm gonna do as a volunteer, I'm done, I'm on strike. Until this issue is resolved. There'll be no more snow removal for nothing free.
Well, we'll get you an answer. We'll discuss it. Obviously. This is, we're not gonna answer them questions here because we can't make an informed
Okay,
decision.
show us know it's out there.
Yep.
I've
We
kind of been
appreciate-
left out there all by myself. Nobody's helping me. I'm not getting gas. I'm not getting toilet paper. I'm not getting nothing. I'm all on my own.
Okay, we do appreciate
If
it.
you want me to continue, if you talk to me, I'll probably do it for free.
Okay, very well. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions from the public? Nope. Being none. Moved by Councilor McCutcheon, second by Councilor Guthrie. Be resolved is that this regular council meeting is hereby adjourned at 8:09 PM. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much for coming out.